All right, all that's going on overseas. But back here at home, President Trump's immigration crackdown continues as Homeland Security now looks to deputize IRS agents to help boost enforcement efforts.
Senior White House correspondent Peter Doocy joins us live. Good morning, Peter.
Good morning. Sometimes those IRS agents would be helping build a tax or money laundering case against an illegal immigrant, but sometimes they're just going to be standing there next to the door while a SWAT team knocks it down.
They can certainly cover a back door. They can certainly transport. They can certainly help process. The non-criminal IRS agent, they can help us process and do some intelligence and wrap around infrastructure planning. We'll take them. We can use all the help we can get because this is a big operation.
Homeland Security wrote to the Treasury Department about these extra IRS hands. It is DHS's understanding that the Department of the Treasury has qualified law enforcement personnel available to assist with immigration enforcement, especially in light of recent increases to the Internal Revenue Service's workforce and budget. There are more tools the Trump team is using here, including, for the first time ever in a counter-cartel operation, a U-2 spy plane has been flying over U.S. soil, according to a report by CNN. Law enforcement sometimes struggles to keep up with cartel technology, but the U.S. military is not going to have such a hard time. And all of this just creates a big new deterrent that is being noticed around the world. The New York Post is citing sources at the border who claim that groups of dozens of migrants at a time are not even making their way all the way up to the border to claim asylum. They are just turning around and going home. Back to you.
Which is pretty amazing because that was the whole goal. And I remember when Congressman Cuellar said, you need to show video of them being turned around and going back. And I thought, why? He goes, that's all they see in Central and South America because then it's no longer worth the money. The question is, Peter, if the numbers keep staying low, I wonder how long you need military out there. Soon they're going to have to maybe decrease the numbers.
For as long as Donald Trump is president, it would seem like they're going to remain there because he promised there's a secure border. The deportation numbers have not been as fast as a lot of people around here at the Trump White House would like. And so the easiest way to avoid delays with deportation is just to let fewer people in.
Peter, any word on the leaks? Any information on where they're coming from? I know the Department of Justice is saying they're going after the person. Is this a holdover that's turning this information over? What's the latest on this?
Hard to speculate about who it is, but Tom Homan is really steamed.
Yeah, he is.
Tom Homan has the president's ear, and so this is, it is very unusual, even though there are constant leak investigations in Washington, it's very unusual to have the commander-in-chief himself so invested in trying to figure out who is leaking. It seems like it is coming from somebody with knowledge that only a small group of people would have. And the small group gets smaller and smaller and smaller until they figure out who the leak is. And they have different ways of figuring this out. Sometimes they try to flush out leakers by telling a small group false information to see if the false information gets out there. And so they have some tricks, and
they say they're going to get to the bottom of it.
They'll try.
Well, Peter, they say it's the FBI. Tom Homan accuses the FBI of putting officers' lives at risk by leaking ICE details. He thinks it's out on the West Coast. So, I mean, Kash Patel can't get there quick enough.
I know.
We'll see what happens.
Well, and law enforcement officers swear an oath to not do that. And there are a lot of policies on top of that, HR policies that they would be violating. But if whoever is leaking the information that is tipping people off to these law enforcement raids, they are facing severe federal penalties.
Absolutely. And the law enforcement could get hurt, and that's the worry. Peter, thank you very much.
Peter.
Thanks, Peter.
Peter did mention the number of migrant encounters at our southern border is absolutely dwindling. When you take a look at the number of migrants who were encountered on Sunday, just about 300. The average day in December during the Biden administration was 8,000. Now, here's what's different about it. Is under the Trump administration, and we've got another graphic, they have ended catch and release. And so during the first 2 weeks of the Trump administration, only 461 were released into the United States. That means 94% were not released. Whereas when you look at the Joe Biden number, it was 5,000 a day. And 70% of them were released into the country.
Yeah.
I want to know who those 303 people are.
Right?
Because it's like, hey, it's essentially a brick wall now. Well, don't bother.
Part of the reason why the numbers are so low is because they're not even allowed to cross. So, for example, you used to have a lot of migrants come across the border and they just surrender to ICE. I'm sorry, to Border Patrol.
Right. And they would have to ask, are you seeking asylum?
Seeking asylum. Some of them went through the app. They did multiple factors. Well, what's happening now, when you see Border Patrol or the military see these folks, or if you see them in the Rio Grande or something like, they're saying turn back around.
Right.
You can't jump if you try to jump the fence, they're going to use, pepper spray. They're going to use any tool, the bean bags, or they're going to physically push you back across the border. So there used to be this posture of just letting them come across. Yeah. That's no longer the case.
You know what is a forgotten part of the story is we're talking a lot about the migrants, but the people who live on ranches and farms along the southern border. We've all visited those people and done pieces down there. They said that they felt completely forgotten by the Biden administration, who just let hundreds of migrants across their property, and many of them live in, all of them live in very rural areas where the police department is very far away, and they felt threatened for their safety.
Of course. Right.
I spoke to a woman who had a 14 and 12-year-old daughter.
I remember.
And the woman was teaching them how to use a gun just in case anything happened. So, I mean, what a relief to those Americans who now feel that their property is more safe. So, this is private land.
And just to sweeping on everything we just discussed, there's going to be a huge sweep out in California. They announced it already of illegals, and they're already pushing back. I'm watching video this morning, pushing back with the whole California state college system. Pro-Palestinian, anti-ICE protests, the ass-backwards state that is. And then you have this stat that came out. You wonder why people weren't feeling the employment. The employment numbers are down. The economy's doing great. Part of it is, since January 2020, 88% of employment growth went to immigrants this year. And illegal immigrants is up 4.7 million compared to that last year. So the people who are getting the jobs in America are here illegally, temporarily. So we're not feeling the job increase. People are benefiting from illegals working here. So that goes to the overall picture of how come you're telling me the economy's great and I don't feel it?
Because it ain't us.
Because it isn't us getting the jobs.
Well, the southern border is feeling it because the New York Post has got an exclusive story this morning talking about how they're seeing people, they either are looking at these numbers and they're turning around. Right. Or they're already heading back. They're heading south. The flow of migrants north is slowing. Way down. And now it's picking up going back south. It's like, they're not going to let us in.
They said in Honduras last week they discovered a group of 25 migrants from Venezuela and Cuba traveling south back to Nicaragua. Another group of 23 from Honduras, Venezuela, Panama, and El Salvador turning back from Mexico. So they're interviewing them as they're leaving. That's the goal. Send the message. Put your Biden shirts away.
That's why the cartel is upset right now.